Alright, you lot. So I got asked to collaborate with a game. An open world turn-based combat game. Yeah, you heard that right. Two of my least favourite things in gaming, shoved into one package and lobbed at my face like a wet flannel. You know what? I actually bloody enjoyed it. I know. I've gone soft. But before you lot start throwing things, let me explain how a puppet pirate adventure managed to crack through this miserable Yorkshire armour. This is Sea of Remnants, and this is my honest review. Sponsored or not, you're getting truth. You always do. So let's get this out in open air before anyone starts screaming shill in comments. Yeah, it's a collaboration. An advertising agency for NetEase reached out, offered me a Steam code, and yeah, they're paying me to promote the game. There it is. Full transparency. No bollocks. No hidden disclaimer buried in description nobody reads. Right here. Front and centre. Because that's how I operate. But here's what separates me from other content creators who gets a sponsorship deal and suddenly develops selective amnesia about quality. They don't dictate my views. Never have. Never will. Do I really sound like someone who gives a fuck about keeping a sponsor happy? If game's shite, I'll tell you it's shite. Take me payment for time spent and move on. That's business. I don't owe NetEase a glowing review. I owe you an honest one. Now when that email landed, my first thought were pretty straightforward. It's free. Worst case scenario, I'll lose a few hours making a few videos and absolutely tearing it to pieces. Best case, find something worth talking about. Because let's be right here. If I'd seen Sea of Remnants pop up on Steam by itself, open world and turn-based combat, I'd have scrolled past it faster than you scroll past your ex's Instagram stories. Two of my most despised mechanics in one game. That's like asking me if I want a shit sandwich with a side of cold sick. No, but I figured, you know what, give it a shot. And my first full playthrough, just over an hour, unedited, raw, warts and all, is already sat on channel for anyone who wants to see me genuine real-time reactions to everything. Every confusion, every laugh, every what fresh hell is this moment. It's all there. No cuts, no cherry picking, just me discovering a game I had zero expectations for. See its premise, and I'm going to give you my version. Not whatever marketing approved drivel has sat on Steam page somewhere. You're a puppet, a pirate puppet. You've washed up on an island full of other puppets, and you can't remember a bloody thing. Your memories are gone, scattered across this world like my patience at a Ubisoft press conference. And your job? Find out what happened to you, and why you ended up face down on a beach like a stag-do survivor in Ibiza. Fun times. Now that sounds mental, and it is mental, but here's where Joker Studio have done something clever. They've leaned right into absurdity. The game don't take itself seriously. That's exactly why it works. You're not some grizzled warrior on a quest to save existence. You're a confused stringless marionette trying to piece together why you're on an island where my mother appears as a massive angry warthog with no manners and no respect. Which is pretty accurate. And honestly, I related to that more than any big budget narrative I've played in years. Early on, you meet someone you recognise from where you first woke up. They were still unconscious when you legged it, and even though I didn't get far enough to confirm it, I'm fairly certain they're two different puppets. Probably twins. Maybe somewhat weirder. I don't know yet, and that's part of what's keeping me interested. Together, you set off on an adventure to find clues and hopefully reawaken those memories, and find out why you washed up in the first place. And here's a bit that genuinely surprised me. I actually found myself getting attached to character. Not through empathy, mind, but through intrigue. I want to know what's going on. I want to see where its story leads. You can keep all open world fluff and side content. Give me answers. When a game hooks me like that, writing has been doing something right. I've endured some absolute tripe in the past just to see where its story goes, I'll admit that. But to properly hook me, writing has to appeal. And this one does. It's Pirates of the Caribbean Pinocchio edition. That's my elevator pitch. But here's big one. Turn-based combat. For me, turn-based combat has always been a turn-off. It's slow. It's boring. It's like watching someone else play chess while you wait for your go. Except chess, at least, has some dignity about it. I accept it in Pokemon because, well, it's Pokemon. You don't question Pokemon. It's law. But everywhere else? Get in bin. So how did Sea of Remnants manage to make it work for someone like me? Well, first off, it don't take itself seriously. There's one fight where I'm facing my mother in game. And before you ask, yeah, she really is a big fat ugly white hog with up charmer a bouncer at Weatherspoons at closing time. And special moves have a flair of comedy to them. We're not talking dramatic anime cutscenes with 15 minutes of wind blowing air and inner monologue. Nah, mate, we're talking a puppet doing absurd things to other puppets. And it made me laugh. Now it's combat deep, Let's be honest, from what I played, it's mostly pick strongest attack, rinse and repeat. That's generally as exciting as it gets mechanically. But there's an addition of rolling for power multipliers to increase your attack, which adds a little bit of gambling energy to proceedings. It's not revolutionising genre role, but it gives you something to do other than mashing the same button and staring at ceiling. Variety in enemies help too. You're not just fighting other pirates over and over. You get to scrap with a warthog. Several warthogs at once. Big bad mama warthog I already mentioned. And even a gorilla who fancied himself as some kind of intelligent primate. Spoiler, he was just a brute and a bully. I kicked his ass and sank his ship, and it felt great. Each fight had something a little different to it, at least in early stages. Are there other bonkers fights later? Other fun mechanics added down the line? I don't know yet. This is test build, not full game. We'll have to wait and see. But early signs are promising for someone who normally wouldn't touch turn-based with a 10-foot barge pole. So what about open world? Now then, this is where I have some proper gripes alongside some genuine praise. I'll start with praise, because I'm not a complete monster. World itself is vibrant and has some genuinely cracking views. Art style's gorgeous. Opening scene was visually stunning, almost akin to Pandora levels of colour and atmosphere. Joker Studio has clearly spent time making this world look proper, and it shows. Main hub, Port Orp, is a dense little pirate town that actually feels lived in. It's not just a collection of quest gears standing around like mannequins in a museum. And there's a smaller island with a secret cabin that has some nice little secrets to explore. I actually got lost on there at one point, which for an open world is a good sign. Means there's enough going on to distract you from where you were heading. But then we get to open sea. Mate, this is where the game tests your patience like a GP receptionist tests your will to live. There's an auto-sail feature where you point your boat in direction and just leave it to sail to destination. And for minutes at a time, there's naught to do but watch your boat cruise across water. If I'm playing a game, I want to play, not sit and watch gameplay for me. At one point, I was genuinely sat there, staring at my screen, wondering if I should make a brew while I wait. That's not gameplay, mate. It's a screensaver. I will say, there were a moment where my boat got absolutely obliterated by a volcano that magically appeared out of fucking nowhere. So, instead of having to sail all the way back, I just woke up in Port Up a few seconds later. So apparently, fastest way to travel in this game is to die, which is also my approach to Monday mornings, so fair enough. As for rewarding exploration, I can't say it's there yet in a major way. You're looking for things to help you bring back your memories, and from what I've played, it hasn't descended into 100 hours of fetch quest for little reward. Something in back of my mind tells me that'll come. Of course it will. It's open world. That's pretty much all point to them. But for now, exploration's pleasant enough. You find nice scenery, which is great for thumbnails if you're a content creator. And for all you socials lot who love posting screenshots of your characters staring into an early evening sunset, trying to look dead deep and existential, you're sorted. Yes, sad twonks. Technically, this ran smooth on my rig. And before anyone asks for specs, I'm playing on a 9800X3D, 3080 Ti, 32GB of RAM, with a controller for accessibility reasons. Because as we know, I've only got one hand and it's got to do a lot of work. The game performed well for a test build, no major frame drops, no visual glitches that made me question reality, not that screamed, this is held together with sellotape and prayers. Now I did have a crash just over an hour in, game froze and I couldn't go any further, but in fairness, I'm currently doing things to my machine that could affect stability, and at time of play I still had update KB5074109 on my machine. If you know, you know. So I can't fully blame game for that. If other people start reporting the same issue, then we'll revisit. But from what I've seen so far, nobody else has flagged it, so I'll give benefit of doubt for now. Visually, as I've said, art style's spot on. Colour palette's rich, environments are detailed, and character designs fit perfectly into this bonkers puppet pirate world. Joker Studio have nailed aesthetic. It's not trying to be photorealistic and failing. It's got its own identity and it owns it. Audio side, voices are well performed and fit characters properly. Music's subtle, sits in background without being jarring or overwhelming, which is what you want. It complements rather than dominates. But, and this is a warning for any content creator looking to stream or record this game on release, I got a copyright claim. I were on beach roasting some food. Nice relaxing moment. Background music got claimed. I've seen strip track art using YouTube's tools, but let that be a heads up. If you're planning to stream Sea of Remnants, be aware that some in-game music could trigger claims. Not a game breaker for players, but for creators, it's something you need to know before you go live and end up with a strike you didn't see coming. Nah, let's address elephant in room. It's NetEase. It's free to play. That means microtransactions are coming. We all know it. I know it. You know it. Your nan probably knows it, and she still thinks Xbox is a type of storage container. Right now, in this test build, there's no dodgy going on monetisation-wise. No battle passes, no pay-to-win bollocks, no premium currency shoved in your face every 30 seconds. But this is alpha. Full release will tell a different story. And when it does, I'll be right here telling you exactly what that story is. Community-wise, there's an active Discord server for everyone involved in collaboration, and it's got a modest number of players. For a game not yet in beta, that's enough to get some proper feedback flowing. There's also a neat little in-game feature where you find memory bottles floating around, and you can leave messages or hints for other players to find. It's not full multiplayer in traditional sense, but it gives a little sense of community, like leaving notes for strangers in Dark Souls, except less try-fingers and more pirate banter. So what's game for? Anyone who enjoys open worlds and pirate adventures. Even with puppet characters, there's points where you start to forget that and just enjoy what's happening. Story draws you in, combat is enough charm to keep you entertained, and world's pretty enough to keep your eyes happy while your brain does real work. Who should avoid it? If you need constant action, if you can't handle slow traversal sections, if turn-based makes you want to eat your own controller, it's probably ain't for you. Unless you're like me, in which case it might surprise you. And that's all point of this review. I went in expecting to hate it, prepared to rip it apart, came out wanting to play more. That don't happen often. So my score? 8.7 out of 10 as it stands. Will that go up or down close to release? Time will tell. Right now, I'd recommend giving it a try. And when game fully releases, I'll absolutely be giving it another go. That's when I'll deliver my final verdict. But for a test build, it's right impressive. So yeah, I'm telling you, I actually enjoyed an open world turn-based game. If that's not proof this channel runs on honesty and not corporate brand nosing, I don't know what is. And that's point to what I do here. I started this channel to tell truth and expose bollocks. Take that as you will. When NetEase reached out, I could have just said no. Instead, I gave the game a fair shot, and it turns out it earned a fair review. I tell you, this world's gone fucking mad. Like, subscribe and all that bollocks. Drop your comments and questions below. If a puppet pirate can lose his memory and still have a better adventure than more AAA releases, what's your excuse? I'll see you next time, you magnificent.